Sports Talk Worldwide with some news from the world of boxing. So y'all know what time it is. You ain't in a rush to get concussed. Now some glorious news, some good news in boxing. Welterweight champ, WBO style, undisputed champ in junior welterweight, right? Linear champ in 135 pounds, which means he's three division champ. Like I said, undisputed, and number one pound for pound, that's Terence Bud Crawford. Now, Terence Bud Crawford doesn't say much, right? But he said something I know the boxing world, and I know hatred's going to be imminent. He said, listen, Canelo Alvarez has been avoiding the black fighters. And in particular, he's talking about Demetrius Andrade and Jamal Charlo. Boom. Now, this doesn't have to be paid. We don't have to patronize each other. We know this to be true. These guys that he's mentioned, I'm not going to do that here. I'm not going to go into it here again. Anything I say, I talk about that pretty much every time I'm on here, right? Those are Negro League fighters, and they don't get the opportunity. Now, the reason why this is important is because these guys have been trying to get with Canelo for 7 years. Demetrius 7, maybe Charlo 6 years, right? He's been in there. They've been in the exact same division as him, 154, 160. They will go up to 168 now, but Canelo has 168 on lockdown, telling the guys he wants to fight, y'all better not fight in Callum Platt and Billy Joe Saunders. Fights that he's also bringing those guys to America, to Texas, where, for example, Charlo is from Texas. That would be a huge fight. Texas opened up. No one wants to see Billy Joe Saunders, and no one wants to see Callum Platt either. Just a few people, right? But not a Callum Platt that's going to wait until September, right? When he could be fighting Benavidez or something to get some momentum, just like Billy Joe Saunders should have fought Demetrius Andrade. Bottom line is, it's good that Terence Crawford is saying this. Now, Terence Crawford is a fighter who gets booed anyway. Wherever he is, wherever he fights, he gets booed anyway because he's a black fighter and he's dangerous. And they know he's good. That's why he's not all that famous. That's why other people have more pay-per-views, and I've said it before, and I'm going to say it again. The bottom line is, with Terence Crawford, there's not a fighter that's not of color in his division or around his division that anyone really thinks is going to beat him. You might have Virgil Ortiz, a little question mark there, but you don't really believe it. Josh Taylor, who's going to probably beat Jose Ramirez and be undisputed at 140, mirroring what your boy Terence Crawford did. Do you really think he's going to be Terence Crawford? Not really, right? Look at Pacquiao. That's the one who everybody thinks is the best. The best non-black fighter probably would be Pacquiao, wouldn't it? Right? He hasn't been fighting him for 5 or 6 years, and it's been documented. So this is the thing, right? So it's good that he said straight up that he's avoiding these black fighters. Now, what he means is not that exactly Canelo is avoiding all black fighters. Canelo has fought a few, but he's always the guy who they think is going to win. And after he got in that close fight with Lara, which he probably lost, and that open scoring, which irks me real bad, because people don't know what open scoring is versus Austin Trout. But open scoring is after every 4 rounds, they tell you what you're doing, what your score is. Now, Austin Trout versus Canelo Alvarez, watch the first 4 rounds. Find how many rounds you gave Austin Trout. Just you, the one who's going to hate on this video. Just go look at those first 4 rounds. And you tell me after 4 rounds, when they come to your corner like they did to Austin Trout, and they told him you didn't win any. So he had to change his game plan, right? And try to go in there and be aggressive with Canelo. Good luck with that. Yeah, he got knocked down after that too, right? That was ridiculous, right? Things like that keep going, and Canelo and other things. But we don't have to, mention them. I mention them in every video, right? It's just good that somebody like Terence Crawford, because that's going to raise his profile. Because like I said, he's been hated before anyway. He's always getting booed. Now he'll probably get booed even worse. People start hating on him even more. That's probably the only way that he's going to get his pay-per-view numbers up to where they should be, because this is the face of boxing right now. Terence Crawford is the face of boxing. If we really want a real face of boxing, someone who's no one around his divisions, who somebody thinks that he's not want to fight or whatever, and this myth that he's moved up to his 3rd weight division and has been welterweight, like he hasn't fought anybody in welterweight. I heard somebody even say the guys didn't have a pulse, right? And then we say, wait a minute. So Jeff Horn doesn't have a pulse, right? Jeff Horn is huge compared to Terence Crawford, and he beat the hell out of Manny Pacquiao, right? And they looked at the fight twice. So he was undefeated after beating Pacquiao, and then he got whitewashed by Terence Crawford. That's a pulse, if you ask me. Jose Benavidez is undefeated when he beat him. And he's bigger. Remember, this is Terence Crawford's 3rd weight division, so he's going to fight undefeated welterweights. Jose Benavidez has a pulse. Mean Machine, Idios, Kavalikas, undisputed, not undisputed, undefeated. He got beat. You could add Amir Khan and Kell Brook, who was a champion at welterweight division. So was Amir Khan, right? But okay, Amir Khan a little bit past it, but got beat convincingly, and so did Kell Brook. No one beats Kell Brook convincingly like that. Not even Gennady Golovkin, 2 divisions higher. Now that's just his welterweight. All of those guys have no pulse. Then who the hell has one? Who the hell are we talking about? Danny Garcia? Because Danny Garcia is my boy. I ain't gonna say nothing negative about Danny Garcia. But Danny Garcia hasn't been trying to fight your boy. Neither is Mikey Garcia. So either one of those are Pulse guys. They didn't want to fight him earlier, Terence Crawford. So the only one left is Shawn Porter, Keith Thurman, and Errol Spence. Errol Spence asked for something astronomical, 80-20, 70-30. Keith Thurman didn't want to fight him yet, right? Shawn Porter wants to fight him now. But that wasn't the same, energy 2 years ago. So at the end of the day, he's fought people with pulses. This guy is the face of boxing. Somebody has to knock his face off then. But until now, he's the face of boxing. When the face of boxing says the other guy who they are putting in front of him sometimes, right, in mainstream media, won't fight guys for years. These are not new guys. These guys have been begging Canelo for years, and they're undefeated, and they have titles. These are not prospects. And he has done everything possible with the assistance of the WBC and the boxing mainstream media and all of that stuff that's going on in boxing. To me, boxing is like the WWE. We designate who we're going to want to be put in pound for pound, who we want to be champions, and we can avoid these people, and we make sure that the media is down with it, right? And if you think it's not, 75 million people voted for an obvious criminal. Has done every crime that's possible, right? And with 75 million voted. That's what's going down, trickles down to boxing people. And that's what this is. So at the end of the day, damn right, Canelo's been avoiding black fighters. The bottom line is these two for sure. And if you want to be real about it, do you think if these fighters were not of color, anything, it'd be from Argentina, Nicaragua, Philippines, Australia, UK, Turkey, wherever, if they weren't black, there's no way on the planet the guy's that good at every weight class that Canelo has been would not get a Canelo fight in 6 years. And that's the point. And that is the truth. We got to do something about that. Every boxing fan, no matter where you're from, forget color for a second. It's time. If Canelo's going to be number 1 pound for pound in your eyes, then he's going to have to fight guys that's been begging that are worthy. And in my opinion, probably even better. There's going to be good fights with Canelo. Not saying that neither one of these guys beats Canelo definitely, but we've seen Canelo with guys similar, like a Lara. I think Andre's on Laura's, he's close to Laura or better. So let's see what happens going forward. I'm telling you this, and then I'm going to get out of here. Hatred for Terence Bud Crawford is imminent. People won't, they're going to look at him like he's not saying the truth. Or they know it is, but we don't just be hateful anyway because it's the brother telling the truth. Watch what happens. Imminent. Remember I told you. Doma Sports Talk, worldwide. And I'm up out of here, y'all.